For some, watching football and drinking beer go together, but this year's Super Bowl is being played at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, California. That is just 85 miles south of America's premier wine region. Dana Jacobson of CBS Sports Network is here with how the industries impact the big game. Dana, good morning.
Good morning. Wine is big business in California. Napa and Sonoma have a nearly $40 billion impact on the state's economy. And so it's no surprise that the industry has been a big draw for the teams and even some of the players that are based in that area. For many football fans, suggesting an official game day beverage other than beer would be considered blasphemy. Not so for Dr. John York. If you had to have an official drink of Super Bowl 50, what would it be?
It would be wine.
York is one of the owners of the San Francisco 49ers. To him, location is everything. Why do you think football and wine go together?
Well, because it is Northern California and you've got access to some of the best wines in the world.
There are nearly 1,000 wineries within 100 miles of Levi's Stadium, host of this year's Super Bowl. York began hosting 8 of them at every 49ers home game in 2014 in a program called Appellation 49.
Since wine is not associated with sports events, no one wanted to buy into putting wine throughout the building. So it really started here. And of course, there were 4 inexpensive wines that were down on the main floor. But as this has grown, better and better wines are served throughout the entire building.
The stadium will serve 16 wines in the general concession area at the big game and 100 different California wines in the suites. But it's not just the spectators who are imbibing. York even sees a growing interest among NFL players.
You can find on every team people who are interested in wine and want to know more about the wine and how to make it, and some get involved with the actual development and production of wine.
You could say that falling in love with wine is somewhat of a job hazard in the Bay Area. Just ask former 49ers quarterback Joe Montana, former Oakland Raiders quarterback Rick Meyer, and this guy.
Yeah, I got this
Big
Super Bowl ring on.
You can't pour wine as well when you have a Super Bowl ring on. Raiders free safety Charles Woodson is known as one of the NFL's best defensive players. But after retiring from the league at the end of this season, the future Hall of Famer is now focusing on the wine label he started over a decade ago.
This is our 2008.
What do you like about it?
2008, man, is very, like my teammates would say, is very smooth.
It's very Charles Woodson,
It's very Charles Woodson.
As is his new tasting room in the heart of Napa Valley. It feels more like a sports bar than a wine lounge, with nods to each of the stops in his prolific career. The University of Michigan, where he won the Heisman Trophy and a national championship. The Green Bay Packers, where he won a Super Bowl. And the Oakland Raiders, where Woodson both began and ended his professional career. Where did your love of wine come from?
Yes, my first stint with the Raiders. I got drafted here in '98, and I knew nothing about wine. And I started drinking Merlot.
Woodson, like many in the Raiders franchise, was introduced to wine while attending the team's annual training camp in Napa.
Every time you went out, you were at a restaurant or at the hotel, people were drinking wine. And I'm coming out of college. There wasn't too much wine drinking.
He discovered that he liked it. And in 2001, during his 4th season at training camp, he met winemaker Rick Ruiz, who talked Woodson into making a personal barrel, then helped him create his own label. There are a lot of people that athletes, I would say, or celebrities, I'm going to put my name on it. It's going to be Charles Woodson Wines, but that's it. What was different about Charles?
He wanted to be involved, and I think that's why we're still here, 16 years later, because Charles wanted to be involved in it.
Woodson's hands-on approach quickly paid off when his 2010 Cabernet made the Wine Spectator's top 100 list.
You got the cover of the Wine Spectator, which we've been, which is huge in our wine world. It's like I told Charles, it's like winning the Heisman, it's the wine Heisman.
That meant a great deal. I mean, that's respectability, in the wine community. The wine business is a funny business. People don't drink it because of your name. It's all about what's in the bottle. It's all about the juice, as they say.
So the wine had to be a Heisman Trophy winning wine.
Absolutely. It's got to be a champion. It's got to be a champion. That's what I am. So the wine has to be the same thing.
And Woodson will be in the Bay Area next week, making his usual appearances, also sharing his wine when possible. And as you might expect, the entire wine industry is really in on the Super Bowl festivities. Among the highlights, the Taste of Sonoma Wine Lounge at Super Bowl City in San Francisco. And then there's the Napa Wine Train. They're running this big game train on Wednesday. NFL players, even a coach, it's Coach Vermeil, who have been turned into vintners now, are going to be on board sharing their wines. More athletes on board sort of sharing in the festivities as well.
Sounds like a good time.
It's great to see athletes doing things outside of their sport.
Yeah, and this is really a passion. This isn't, as we talked about with Charles, put my name on a label. He went out and did the harvesting one day after a game. He woke up early in the morning, went out there. It was probably the first time ever that somebody called him slow because he was getting lapped by the guys who normally do the harvesting.
Nice, though, that we'll be able to go to the actual stadium and have these high-end wines, too.
A little different.
Thank you, Dana. Thank you so much.